Welcome to Sit Down with Stand-Ups. I am your host, Enzo Nitti, and today we got a very special guest. We have a comic that's been in the St. Louis comedy scene for a long time. St. Louis funniest as of 2024, my good friend, Jack Wright.
How we doing?
Thanks.
What's up, man?
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, dude. This is cool.
Yeah, this
doing
is,
a thing.
Was doing a thing. We're at the Westport Funny Bone.
Hell yeah.
Super fun. We just finished our set at the open mic, and
Oh boy, did we?
it was big crowd.
Big crowd.
Big crowd. A lot of people came.
Yeah, and they did not like anything.
No.
Nothing was getting them. It's one of those because it's an open mic.
Yeah.
So it's a first timer, and they bring their friends who don't go. They've never seen a stand-up show before. They just see Matt Rife clips. This is what I'm telling myself.
Yeah.
When I'm going on stage, but
That's what I tell myself when I go to bed.
yeah.
It's like, these guys don't know comedy.
Well, it's just like 5 people in a row, and there's nothing
Yeah.
getting at them. It's just like, man, what am I gonna hit these people with?
I know.
Like it's
And you never know. You never
No.
know what you're going to get when you go to an open mic. Like, there could be 6 people in the audience, but they're true comedy fans. They're laughing, this, that, and the other. Or you can have what we just had. And about 40 people in there.
yeah.
And
it's all their fault.
and it's all their fault. Our jokes were flawless.
Uh-huh.
They were the ones at fault. Yeah, comics are good liars.
Yeah.
As good as well as good joke tellers. But yeah,
You got to be delusional to do this too.
you have to be.
Because I mean, you get no money at the very beginning, but you're like, this will pay off.
This'll
Like this will
plan
be good, you know.
I know. Like, I was telling these guys, like, doing comedy is like it's like a substance. It really is. It's like, it's not a good idea to do it, but boy, is it fun.
Yeah.
You know?
Like that's I think like I would recommend somebody to do comedy if I genuinely like knew them and I thought they were very funny and I was like, you could be great at this.
Yeah.
But anybody just from an outside peripheral, I'll be like, you will fuck your life up.
Yeah.
Like, you know, because when you really dedicate the time to this, it's just, I mean, there's nothing else, you know.
The only people I would recommend comedy to is people that I think could be really funny or my worst enemies. That's the only 2 people that I would recommend comedy to, because it's like, I mean, it's a grind. It's like we're out every night for hours on end to do a couple of minutes in front of maybe a crowd.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like the mic later on tonight, we're going to do stands, and that's mostly just comics.
Yeah.
But some of those mics are the most fun.
Some of those mics are great because, like, especially an open mic where there's no people and it's just comics in the back of the room, like, you can try, like, okay, I wrote this today. I can try this out. I can just get it out of my mouth. And sometimes when it's, like, hectic, like, stands, like, we'll just shout at each other, like, no, do this.
Yeah.
Like, we will give each other tags, and it, like, it's kind of just ball busting in the moment. But those weird little, like, moments, that does give you that callus on stage, and it does give you that extra line that you didn't have in the bit before. Like,
That's true.
there's always those weird nuggets of treasure buried in there.
Yeah,
But-
and I like with stands because it is just a comics open mic, and what we mean by that is just it's mostly comics. Not many people, not many audience members are going there, but it's just a chance for us to say our joke, and it's just stage time.
Yeah.
And we'll say a bit, and your brain's gonna work way differently than mine. I'm thinking of one thing, you might be thinking of a completely different angle of that same joke. You give me that bit, and now I have a brand new canal to just venture through on this joke. Because sometimes, I mean, we just have like one mindset on it, and it's like, this is the way it's got to work, but then somebody's mind is different. It's like, oh, well, why aren't you thinking of this angle?
Yeah.
And that's always fun.
You can always tell, too, when a comic they haven't put themselves in a crappy situation in a while. Somebody who gets, like, a decent amount of stage time and, like, they start going on the road and, like, they're doing well, they're at big shows. Once they have to do, like, a Thursday small crowd, they just fall apart.
Yeah,
and like they're like
sure.
you can see it in their eyes, like, this worked last weekend when I said it. And like it's like it's not last weekend, dude. That's what stand-up's cool is. Every night is a different night and the movie's not always the same movie. You know?
It's humbling too. And it could be the same joke.
Yeah.
It could be the same exact joke with a completely different crowd, and it's like, oh, this crushed yesterday, and today, nothing.
Or even just 45 minutes ago.
Yeah,
like,
2 shows
early
same
show
night.
to late show, like especially late show Friday where they had all day. They worked, they went to dinner, they got drinks before the show, they come in, they're tired. It's just not the same people that you got an hour ago, or even just club to club, 10 minutes apart. You know,
Yeah.
I can do a joke here that kills, and I do it at St. Charles, and they're like, all right.
What is this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Demographics, it's like 15 miles north. It's like, no, we don't like that stuff.
And staying true to yourself while also trying to get across to those demographics too. Because that's like, especially you see like a white comic in like a black room, and then they start being like, motherfucker, or some shit like that. You're like, that's not how you talk,
like,
dude.
no,
Be yourself.
Yeah,
you know?
you got to be yourself, because that's the only way you can bring your authentic funny out, is you have to be yourself. If you try to disguise yourself to perform to whichever room you're in, it's just, they're gonna see right through that. And it's like, that's not you. That's not authentic.
Well, that's the thing too, is like every famous comic that everybody likes, you're going to go see them. You're not going to go see them play to St. Louis and be something different. Like, you're going to go see what you like about them, you know. And if you're not authentically funny, why are you doing stand-up? There's a lot of people I want to ask that to. A lot of people have
We got a
questions.
lot of questions here. How long have you been doing stand-up?
I'm getting close to 4 years.
4 years?
Yeah.
Okay, so you got 1 year on me, and you started when you were?
Well, I started, the first time I did stand-up, it was still in the middle of the pandemic. It was November. The only club that was open was out in O'Fallon because there's no laws there.
Yeah.
And we went, and it was like, there's just only comics, like just 9 people total in the room.
With masks?
Some of them,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
we're having a good
We're
time. But
rebels over here.
I bombed so hard, and I was like, even bombing the first time, I was like, okay, it's my first time, you
Yeah.
know, like it's not gonna be great. And then everything closed down. That club closed for the pandemic, and then February of the next year, I saw somebody who I went to high school with. They were doing comedy here, and I was like, I'm funnier than them.
Yeah.
So I came and I lied. I said it was my first time when I signed up here, and I went on, and it actually went really well. And I was like, okay, this is something. And after that, I've been going out pretty much every night of the week since
Nice.
then.
Yeah,
So,
you go out. I mean, I think you're the most active comic out on the scene. Like, you're going pretty much.
yeah, I
mean,
can
one
be
of the-
better.
I
you
mean,
know?
but that's the comic in you. It's like, yeah, it could be always better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing though. It's just like, I play guitar. If I want to learn a song on guitar, I can play it in my bedroom and figure the part out. But for comedy, you have to be in front of an audience, and especially with like how young I am and like how little of a scene there is and there was when I started, I was like, I just got to push this for all it's got, because eventually I'm going to leave. And I just like to think I trained myself as much as I could here
Yeah.
before I left. you know?
Exhaust everything you can.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, there's no, replacement for stage time.
Yeah.
You know, and at the end of the day, because you can write all you want, but.
Do you remember like the first bit you ever had?
I remember in my first set, it was, this is terrible. It was in the middle of the Black Lives Matter movement, and I went.
Okay.
Don't laugh at that, Enzo. And I went to a protest, and it was in like a really progressive neighborhood, and I was like, I feel like we shouldn't be protesting here because they're already all on our side. And the bit was, it felt like protesting domestic violence at a Rihanna concert. Like, I think she gets it.
Very funny.
They did not think
I'm
it
not
was
laughing at domestic abuse, but structured.
Yeah.
Very good joke.
And then my second mic, I had that bit where my friend was like, have you invested yet? And I was like, dude, we're smoking out of an apple
Yeah.
right now. And like, that's still a bit I use.
Great bit.
Yeah.
I like that bit. Since it's fresh right now, I want to ask you, and then I'll tell you my piece on it. How does it feel? Because everybody, like a lot of people always are very interested in comedy. And, oh, hey, Greg.
Hey, what's up?
How's it good?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
we're recording a podcast.
Big time.
Big
You
time.
got competition, Greg.
Yeah, we're coming on it.
Right, man.
Shout out Greg Warren,
Shout out Greg Warren.
one of the best headliners
Literally
in the country.
one of the best.
Yeah.
What if you just like popped in and took a seat? I'd be too nervous.
Just bury us on your own podcast.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Oh man, yeah. A lot of people talk about how to. Well, wait, hold on, real quick. Greg Warren was coming in here, literally to listen to his set that he just did
Yeah.
on stage.
Uh-huh.
Like that's what I was talking about with those guys. Like that's what it takes to get to that point.
Yeah,
Because he's literally like done. I'm gonna go listen to it. There was this bit I was thinking about. I need to hear it. I need to hear what I said. What went right? What went wrong? And that's where the magic really starts forming in comedy. And a lot of guys don't want to do that because comedy is fun, and sometimes it can get away from you, and it's too fun. And it's like, no, you got to really treat this like a career, like it's if you want it to be, because not many people want it to be their career. Some people just want it to be their bowling night. You know, so they're just like coming out to do it. We don't like those guys because they're taking stage time from us, but
hobbies, yeah.
Yeah, it's just we can't take that away from them, though.
And what's crazy about Greg too, those are jokes that he's told in front of sold out club crowds, but he still is working on them, and he'll still be like, all right, the random Tuesday open mic, let me listen and see how I did. Like,
yeah,
that's the level of dedication. Like, I mean, recording the sets is huge because I'm not good at sitting down and writing. For the most part, I'll voice memo my set and like listen back to it throughout the day. Like I'll probably do an hour's worth of listening to stand up of my own every day, which sucks. But
very awkward.
Your brain just gets annoyed at itself and forces you to like
listening to myself.
But that's what your brain hates it, so it makes you think of the idea to fix it because it just wants to get through it. So like that's because sometimes it'll be after I listen to a recording, but I'm just walking around my kitchen and I'm like, oh shit, okay, this, and I can add that on.
Yeah, it's tough listening to my own sets. I have sometimes it's a difficult time using that just because it's like
it is tough listening to your sets.
I mean, it was right there. I couldn't take that. What does it feel like if somebody was doing like thinking of doing comedy? It's like, yeah, it feels great to perform in front of an audience and get laughs and do well. For you, what does it feel like to bomb? What does it feel like to just silence or no one's laughing or very small chuckles in a sold out room? What's that feeling like?
Man, it's weird. It's because there's different types of bombing. Like there's bombs where it's like, okay, that was my fucking fault. Like, and most of the time, 99.999, it's entirely your fault.
Yeah.
You know, like there might be slow audiences, like a Friday Late Show or something like that, but as comics, it's our job to get across to them, basically. So like bombs sometimes in like a shit show that I know is not going to be good, where I'm like, this is going to suck. Those can be fun sometimes, at least for me, because I'm like, the odds are against me. Why not fuck around?
Yeah.
Because then I might take something from that set and put it somewhere else, and then I might find a way to like get out of a bomb with a bit.
That's where you can really find some gold. Because you're like, all right, I'm going down swinging. Like I have nothing to gain here, like whatever. It sucks when that happens in a paid gig, when you're actually getting paid to do this, and you're like, oh, I am not doing my job well.
Yeah. And you feel like a thief.
Yeah.
Dude, bombing a show and then, like, we all have group chats for the shows that we do and stuff, putting your Venmo in the group chat right after you fucking bomb.
You
just
pay
to,
me for
just
that?
Be like, I'm going to need my $20. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
But, I mean, dude, it's fucking devastating. Like, I don't know what to equate it to, because you go through denial when you get off stage, like just like we did. It was but like, it sucks, but it also is like when you take an edible and you get too high, or you're like, I don't like this, but I love edibles. Like, I am gonna go back and see if I can just have a good time with it. But like, that's the thing. Like, you can make those adjustments from a bomb because it's a failure, but like, you know, you can learn from your failures. Like, you know, it's old lesson, but it's very true. You know,
there's no failures, only lessons.
Yeah,
that's kind of like.
I think I heard Mark Norman say it's like stand-up is only batting practice until you get on TV. And like that's when it's recorded forever, you know, like so like every night, it's something different, and you're just working it out.
That's true. Nobody's ever gonna hear that again until whatever. I heard this and it really resonated with me. For me, and this is how I feel. Bombing, for me, is like asking the most popular girl in school out on a date, and she says no, in front of the entire school. That's like, oh, buddy, I'm getting hot. It's warm. Why is everybody looking at me?
Backswing.
Yeah, you can't get out. God. Everyone's around you. Because if you bomb, like on stage, like not many people know this, if you get paid to do 10, 15, 20 minutes, you have to do that time. You can't have like a bad set and leave. You have to be like, oh no, I'm still getting paid for this. I need to do my time. Yeah. If not, you're not going to get booked here again. No. So you just got to eat it. Yeah. For however long.
That's the worst part is when you bomb but you're hosting. and then you have to come back out on stage and be like, hey,
This fucking
they
guy.
brought me up here again. I'm leaving soon. Don't worry.
I'm just bringing the next guy up.
But like I hosted a show at a city winery, and it was a 2-man show, and it was like one of the first times I had done like 20, 25, and like I was close to getting it, but like, you know, and the comic, his crowd was older, like 50 plus parents and stuff like that. It's city winery. They're eating nice pasta and wine, and I'm up there like, my brother's gay, and like, you know, just doing my thing. And like at first it sucks. That's where bombing's weird though, because comedy is so subjective, and also people are nice. Because like I was just sitting at the bar like waiting to get paid after the show, and people came up and they're like, "You're so funny." It's just that crowd's old, you know.
Yeah.
Like people will give you the out and stuff sometimes. Sometimes they won't. They'll be like, "You fucking suck."
Yeah.
But like for the most part, people are genuinely like, "You did your best," you know. Like
in a comedy show, everybody, like, people get really nervous about doing comedy, but everybody in the room wants you to do well.
yeah.
Because if you do well, I'm gonna have a good time, and if you don't, it's like we're all having a bad time.
That's something you got to get out of your head early on. Is like they're not against you.
Never.
Like nobody's rooting for you to fail.
Yeah.
You know, like just do your shit and, you know, keep working. That's all you can do. Because
Yeah.
that's like the thing is like you might ask out that girl and get rejected, but like you don't have to ask her out again the next day in front of the school. But that's comedy. You have to go back to school. And
Yeah,
be
you
like,
gotta
all
be
right,
like, hey,
here
what's
I
up,
am.
guys?
You know, like let's.
Yeah.
You know, thankfully there's new students, but still.
New students every night. Yeah. Okay, that's just Spence.
Oh, okay. Heathens they gotta walk around.
There's a
here.
bunch of healings here. All right, let me ask you this: if there was a comedy god, and please, if you're listening, all I want to do is just be funny. If there was a comedy god, if you could ask him one thing, what would it be? More like a comedy Santa Claus. You would sit on comedy Santa Claus's lap.
For like an opportunity, or like he can give me like okay.
You get one wish.
One wish. Make this my only job,
Mm.
cause like especially at the beginning, like you're working. Yeah, Spencer's like, yeah, fucking right.
I'm sorry.
He got me, dude.
Yeah,
Shout out Spencer Techmar.
Shout out.
There's a lot of people got to give shout outs to here tonight. But yeah, I mean, especially when you're starting out, I've gone through so many fucking jobs, like just because I was too stubborn to be like, I won't not go to this open mic I'm not getting paid for, and stay out till 2 a.m. every night, like working for it. And, you know, it's pretty thankless, but like literally if the comedy god could just let me focus on comedy, because that's the part I heard Bargatze talk about, how he would do spots in New York and then he would work at FedEx from like 5 a.m. to 10 a.m. and then go to sleep during the day and then go back out.
Yeah, he'd be all night doing spots, and then from 5 to 10 to work.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, not many people know that comedians have day jobs for a very long time. A very long time. Unless you are like a touring headliner, and even then, you still might need to get a day job because it only pays this much on the weekends, and so it's just kind of like, yeah, it's tough. I think I would have to agree with you. If I can only do this, it would be a dream.
Yeah.
It really would be, because at the end of the day, we love just making people laugh. As corny as that sounds, that's really what it. Subconsciously, there's so many deep-rooted issues of why we enjoy just putting ourselves through vulnerability night over night just to make people laugh. But at the end of the day, like, we're just trying to make the world a little bit of a better place through a bunch of just things that we find funny. And if we could do that for a living, that's really special.
Yeah, because I got no other skills.
Yeah, no, you can move furniture. You can move furniture like a mother, dude.
I swear to God.
Dude, you're so good at furniture moving. You've helped me move so much furniture, and you are better at moving my furniture than I am at moving. I'm like, just put it in there. I was like, no, you gotta watch the corners, dude.
I was a star at fucking 2 Minute Truck, dude.
Yeah,
I
dude.
shine like a diamond, but
Dude,
that's one of the few jobs I no call, no show too.
happens, man.
Dude, I fucking.
They're gonna be watching this and be like, Jack Wright. Damn.
I feel bad because they were telling me like, dude, we found your TikTok, like you're funny and stuff, and like they're all nice guys and stuff, but like it was just
we're not all perfect,
dude. It was bad.
Yeah, we're not all perfect.
But yeah, dude, just be able to do comedy and focus on that.
I think that'd be a fantastic gig that we could do. What is who's your favorite comedian right now?
Alive or dead?
Let's do a live. So yeah, a live. Who's your favorite dead comedian?
Patrice.
Yeah, Patrice O'Neal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
I mean, like, just the most honest. And it's like, I don't think we'll get another him.
No.
Because especially with how corporatized, I don't know if that's a word, but like how corporate stand-up feels right now, I don't think somebody could come up in the same way that he did and stay that way.
He was like a rebel in the comedy world.
A rebel, authentic, and I mean just hilarious at all cost. And I mean,
at all costs.
Yeah.
No matter what. Yeah, I'd have to agree with. That's one of mine.
Living, I feel bad not saying like a young guy or something. One of the, I guess, newer comics in the past few years, Sam Tallent.
Sam Tallent.
I love him. He's hilarious. He's got a really good book too. But I mean, his last special he just put out, I think Frog. No.
The Frog.
No, it's a toad or something like that. The Toad's Morale. That's what it is.
The Toad's Morale.
But that's a really good special. He has like a on the road special where it's like him at like different independent shows. But I got to meet him once and see him, and I mean, he's hilarious.
Yeah, you kind of pumped him.
I did. Well, yeah, I was doing Fountain City Comedy Festival, and for a comedy festival, they give us like free drinks and shit all night. So the first night I was there, I didn't have a show, so I just blacked out. I went nuts. And like there's literally a point where like there's a comics only open mic that we were all drinking at, and I was like, I'm gonna throw up or I just need another Busch Light. And I went for the next Busch Light.
Those are the two options.
Yeah, I powered through. But the next day I was hungover as shit, and there was like an outdoor like patio show, and I was literally like standing in the back of the patio shaking with a Bloody Mary in my hand, and I had a Raiders hat on, and Sam's a Broncos fan, and he's a 6'3" huge guy. Walks up and he's like, Raiders? And I was like, Broncos? And he was like, yeah. And then I pumped him like that. And then he leaned back and laughed like Santa Claus because he's fucking huge. He was like,
very funny.
But he was super nice. He's like, what's your name, buddy? Like, he noticed I had the badge and I was a comic and everything, and he talked to me for a little bit. But he's a really cool guy. He's really, really fucking funny too.
Yeah.
Like, on the spot, great bits. David Tell is still alive though, so I think he's him and Louie are, you know, Burr's right there with him. But, you know, I think Attell's just so fast, and like especially like I know Skank for the Memories is an old album, and you know it's obviously a little dated to modern audiences, but it's like that level of murdering. I don't know if anybody else is doing that right now. You know.
Yeah. Besides like children at schools, but other than that.
That Earthquake, I saw him recently. I fucking love Earthquake, dude.
Oh, Earthquake.
Earthquake, dude.
Earthquake, he is the man. I didn't even know who he was until he came out with that Netflix special. And he came out with that bit about giraffe.
Dude, he had like 10 or 20 minutes on like Trump and Biden, and it was so crazy too. Cause
you saw him at Helium.
I saw him at Helium.
Yeah.
And he was doing his act, but he was like looking at the wall for like a bunch of it and like laughing and like looking at the wall, and I was like, that's so crazy to not even face the audience but be murdering so hard. He doesn't
even have to look,
and it looks more natural too because he's like just fucking. It looks like you're on a smoke break with a guy who's just fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
I was at Helium that night, and Earthquake, his crowd, predominantly black, and I was like, I want to embed myself in the culture, so I went to the bar and I was like, can I get Hennessy on the rocks, please? And all the bartenders started laughing at me.
That's so funny because they would too. They would.
And I was like, no, I want to. I've never had Hennessy before. And I hadn't really ate that day, but I had one glass, and they over pour like a motherfucker over there. Love them. And I just drank one glass, and I was like, all right, I'm off.
Yeah.
I'm off the Hennessy right now. I understand the terminology. I get it now.
That's funny. But yeah, Helium's is a good club. That's another St. Louis club here. Right now we're at the Funny Bone, and I guess since we're talking about clubs, I do want to say that we've put together the St. Louis Funniest for the Funny Bone.
Hell yeah.
And that starts January 22nd. That's super exciting. We're doing a competition of local comics. We're doing 3 rounds, and the winner gets over $1,000. So it's really exciting to start doing comedy competition, because it gets people excited to do comedy. It gets the juices flowing. It gets people coming. It helps the club.
Yeah, dude. I mean, because there's like so many people who will just see an ad for a comedy competition and think, oh, I'm funny, I can do that. They've never done stand-up before.
And I want to bury them.
Yeah. Hopefully you do, but I mean,
right.
Those people, they bring people out, and like those are people that have never come to a comedy club before.
Yeah.
They didn't know it was in St. Louis, and like we get those people, we get a new group of people coming to the Funny Bone. And I think the competition aspect for comics who have already been doing comedy, it's good because it makes you look at your set and tighten stuff up, tighten up the screws, because you're like, all right, this is, especially when you know there's going to be judges or you're going to be getting voted on. And I think that's an attitude that like I've tried to put on myself, not in like a competition sense, but I think it is good. It's a good exercise.
It is, because once you know it's a competition, you start taking it a little more serious, and then you get a taste of what it feels like to take comedy more seriously, and then it's like, oh, do I like this? Because who doesn't like to be on stage just crushing, telling jokes, everyone's just laughing? Everyone loves that.
Yeah.
Do you love writing? Like, do you love breaking down a bit? Do you love having a joke that does really, really well, but also changing it just so you can see if it can do better? Like, there's so much to comedy that is not sexy, but it's so crucial so you can be, like, really undeniably funny.
Yeah, you won't be sexy still, but you'll be very funny.
Yeah, man.
Actually,
it's bad for you if you're sexy.
Really bad.
Like, you have to be like funny looking or fat, or I mean, fat could be sexy.
Tall like is a genre.
Just goofy.
Yeah.
You got to be because goofy is funny, man. Goofy is really funny. I got another question for you. What you told me a little bit about your goal. Your goal in comedy is just to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Do you have a favorite joke that you have, favorite bit right now?
Yeah, I got one about homeless people that I'm working out right now. And it's like, it's one of those where I can tell when I start it, the audience was like, all right, let's be careful here. You know? And I am genuinely trying to be.
Even saying homeless people, they're like,
exactly.
Easy,
and that's kind of the point of the joke too, is like, you guys don't even want to fucking talk about this. Like, we got to talk about them because you see them every day.
Yeah.
And like, so the bit has been like growing from like, what I like about bits is like when it's like one silly sentence and you say it and like it might get a chuckle or it might get nothing, but you're like, I know there's something here. Like one sentence is now turned into like a 2-minute bit. And that's really cool. And like when I know there's situations where I shouldn't bust it out, like I did a host feature week recently, and when you're host featuring, you're doing 25 up top, so you have more time to like warm them up and try some different stuff. That's not something you can do when you're opening a show, you know. Like in the middle though, when they're already warmed up and loose, and like I have to win them over before I can tell this joke, which is a cool position to be in, but also like it's cool. The type of comedy I like, it goes into those weird areas and it comes out the other side hilarious. And that's a joke that I'm proud of, that I think I'm not done like crafting yet, but I'm having a really good time finding where it's going.
I accidentally put an ice cube in my mouth, and I didn't want to crunch it while you were talking because I didn't want to mess up the audio. I was afraid to swallow it because I think it would hurt really bad. But now it's melting.
Joe Rogan would never pull this shit, dude. I want you to know that, all right?
Oh, man. Joe Rogan and I, we actually have the same barber.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, we're barber brothers. I'll tell you this. I'm so glad I don't have hair anymore, because the anxiety I used to have, I don't know if you get this. Do you get anxiety when you get a haircut? When I'm sitting in the chair, I'm like, this guy's fucking it up.
Yeah.
This guy is not doing it right. But then I look at it and it's like, oh, it's fine.
I mean, I have the initial anxiety of like, yeah, what if they fuck me hard on this? But I don't think I look good no matter what. So I'm like, I've never been happy with my hair, you know? So I was just like, it's what it is. I get like, I'm broke, so I'll wait a while to get a haircut. At the same time, it grows really fast.
Okay, I want to ask two things. No, two things.
Talk to me about my hair more then.
One, I want to talk about like how much comics actually get paid for shows.
Okay.
And 2, I want to ask you, what's your favorite bit from like a known comedian, like a headliner?
Yeah. I think my favorite bit from a headliner, back to Patrice, I think it's his, he has a bit about gas prices going up, and he like breaks down how like sneakers used to be like $40, and then they went up to 80, and then they dropped it down to 65, and they're like, they fucked us hard, and then they brought it back down so you can deal with the fucking.
Yeah.
But basically the whole bit is about corporations raising all their prices, and he was like, just fuck me, just like be honest.
Yeah.
Like I wish they would just come on TV and be like, yeah, we raised the price of gas because like, what are you really gonna do? Like that's
What
the
are
whole
you gonna
bit.
do
Yeah,
about it?
like it's such a heady bit, and there's so much like setup, and like you're like, what? Because he's like, you can tell he like means what he's saying, and like, but just the turnaround and like the reality of it, like that's a comedian who I think can like take social issues and like part of society and make it funny without it being like preachy or talking down to anybody. And I think that's what makes it a really cool bit, because it's, yeah, that's a crazy amount of intelligence that it took him to get from one end to the other, and it's just one sentence that like brings it all
boom
together. So I think, I don't know, that's something I'd like to aspire to at some point.
Just because comedy can really open some, I want to say political doors, but I'm saying some very uncomfortable conversations through comedy. And I think it's really cool how like somebody could just make a joke and be like, oh, he's not allowed to talk about this, but it's so undeniably funny that like you have to laugh. Like he shouldn't say that, but it's too funny, but I'm laughing.
Well, that was the whole point of like the jester. Like back in medieval times, that was the person that was supposed to be there. That was his whole purpose, to like break the tension. And there's a thing called jester's privilege, is they could talk about the weird shit, and everybody like, well, he's just a fucking clown.
Yeah, he
so
could say
he gets
that.
To, he gets to say that.
He was the only one that could make fun of the king.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I think
if we make fun of the king, we don't get booked.
yeah, dude, the king is mad, and he will fucking.
He will be like, all right, you won't do comedy for 3 months.
Yeah, dude, you're done.
Okay, well, I want to ask about, because I guess, I don't know, whoever's listening to this, I want to like kind of have like a true perspective of like what comedy is actually like and how crazy comedians that are doing it, that aspire to do this for a profession, how much they actually get paid.
Yeah.
Because, okay, bar shows. How much would you get paid for a bar show?
So, I mean, like, it depends on where you're at. So, like, when you're starting out, you might get $20, you know, and that's like, oh, man, I got paid. Like, because, especially at first, you're going to do guest spots. Where, like, people are like, I like this kid, but they're not a stand-up yet, but I'll give them a little bit of time on my show just because they're, like, working hard and
just
stuff like that.
Just to see how you would do in front of a paid audience.
Yeah.
Like, how are you doing, not at a bar? Like, how are you doing?
And that's the big thing, like when you start out, like, because that means the club sees you hanging out just hoping to get on stage, like, all right, they're at least dedicated to being here. But yeah, I mean, when you start out doing bar shows, it's like 20, 25, you know, like nothing crazy, sometimes just 15, but you're still like, all right, I got paid to do comedy. The first time I got paid to do comedy, I didn't do comedy.
Yeah. Well, you didn't do comedy?
No, this guy came up to me at like Blue Strawberry. He's like, I'm having a party. I want comics at the party. So I brought some guys with me, and I think Zach Bukovich did like 5 minutes while people were like just talking in the background, but he just gave me money. He was like, we're not gonna, this doesn't need to happen.
Yeah.
And so, but I got paid for comedy, and I didn't even do
That's awesome.
comedy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, just getting paid to do comedy at first, you're like, oh fuck, okay, like it's a possibility. Like this is a thing that happens. But especially in St. Louis, it's such a small scene. There's 3 clubs, which is better than like starting in a different city with nothing.
Like Edwardsville. You could be in Edwardsville and be like, all right.
But still, it's like, I'm starting to feature. That pays a little bit more. Nothing crazy, but you know, it's a nice little chunk of change, you know? But I can only, maybe I get, because especially since there's 2 clubs, but they're connected, I can only really get 1 check from each club every month. And that's like, other people will look at that and be like, oh, wow, you like that guy is doing well in the St. Louis scene, and it's like, yeah, but I'm still working at a fucking hot dog shop. Like, I still have to support my family, and this isn't doing it.
And my family is a small chihuahua.
Yeah, literally. But like, I mean, even like going on the road, like I'm starting to do that, but like,
and even that, like when you go on the road, especially starting out, you got to pay to get there. You got to pay to stay there.
Yep.
And you got to pay to come back. The money that you make when you go on the road is to pay for you so you can do comedy somewhere else.
Dude, it's
nuts.
I'm going to Chicago this weekend. I think I'm gonna break even.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm like, that's perfect.
That's perfect.
Like, that's great. Especially it's Chicago. It's a bigger scene. It's
you get to meet
really
people.
Cool shows, meet people, network. Like you're investing time for the most part. That's a lot of comedy at first. You're just investing time and effort into one day getting there, which is very ludicrous, but at the same time, like the more it starts to happen, the more it's like, okay, this is at least achievable.
Yeah.
You know?
I know. There's little bits and pieces that like start opening up. You're like, wait. Oh, it's actually like starting to mold into something. You know, it's like, oh, this is kind of forming into something I'm proud of, or something that could I could tell people about. Because in the beginning, like I didn't want to tell anybody I did stand up.
I mean, my family's like just starting to get it.
And 4 years in.
4 years, and like it was really this year, and like winning the competition, and like that was a decent amount of money from that, so that helped. But like,
yeah,
at first it's like, all right, you're quitting jobs, you're just doing these mics, you're not getting paid. And like my dad plays music too, so he's like, why are you performing and not getting paid? And I'm like, that's just not how this works, you know. But like now it's like I left a family dinner to go do a show, and my brother was a little bummed, and my grandmother, who's like, at first she wasn't like shitting on it, but she was like concerned, you know. She's like, I want you to have a job and everything, which is understandable, but she like told my brother like, well, this is how Jack makes money now. And like just that little bit of like them understanding that like this is my career and this is what I'm doing, that's cool.
And that gives you such a big boost to be like, oh, I got my family on my side now.
Yeah.
Like they understand like what I'm looking at. Because
you need a little resistance at first.
You need it because that resistance combined with your delusional thinking that you can actually be something in comedy, like once you break that barrier, it's just like, okay, now it's like, boom. And then you're going to hit another barrier, but it's like that resistance and pushing through that makes it even more sweeter when the time comes.
Yeah. Because it's not even as much confidence as it is just willpower.
Yeah.
And just being like, I'm going to work hard at this and
consistently.
Yeah.
Because you just have to stick around. Stick around and do what you need to do every day. And you can't, I mean, this is with anything. You can't not be good at it.
No.
Like if you take it serious and you do it every day, you can't not be good at something. It might take longer for you than for somebody else. And sometimes luck plays into it and be like, I got very lucky in this area and it just worked out. But sometimes it's just like people grind. I mean, I know headliners that are grinding to this point 25 years and they're not like a big name, but they're doing this for a living and they love it. And, you know, you have to find your own happiness when it comes to this industry, because this industry is very, very weird.
It's fake.
It's fake. It's a fake industry.
Yeah.
Like people are, but it's an art.
Yeah.
You know, like.
But it's like an NFT almost.
We are NFTs.
Yeah.
We're walking NFTs. It's like, it's good for now, but when this bubble pops, it's like, now we're just a picture. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I always had the goal when I started out. My parents were teachers. My grandmother was a principal. I'm like, if I can make teacher pay doing comedy, I made it.
Yeah.
That's great. You know? Like, if I can just make a living.
That's it.
Yeah. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's like, I might not be famous, but if I'm funny as fuck and I'm doing well in clubs, that's all I want. And if I feel like if I'm funny as fuck and doing well in clubs,
it's bound to
the rest is, it's going to come.
You just got to put in the work. Awesome, man. Well, thanks for being the first guest in Sit Down and Stand-Ups. I appreciate it. You're a good friend of mine. Do you have any shows you want to plug?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the road a little bit. Just follow me on Instagram, Jack Wright Comedy, TikTok, if it's still a thing, Stand Up Jack Wright.
Who knows?
I don't know. I don't do Twitter and all that
Elon Musk
stuff.
might buy it, so they might just go to
Great.
shit.
Perfect. And then we're going to have a Blue Ski fucking TikTok or whatever.
Yeah, Blue Ski. Yeah.
Communist Twitter.
Yeah, and I will be don't know if you know this, but I'll be featuring for Eddie Gosling January 30th to February 3rd.
Fuck yeah.
So if this comes out before then, come out and see us. Eddie Gosling is a very, very funny comedian from LA. He was a producer of Tosh.0, and he produces his podcast right now. So come out and support. And yeah, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you around.
Hell yeah.